Our breaking news, White House Communications Director Hope Hicks announcing her resignation today. The latest in a long line of departures from the Trump White House in a little over a year. Let's discuss now. CNN national security analyst Samantha Vinograd, a former senior advisor to the National Security Advisor under President Obama, and Rick Wilson, a Republican strategist. Good evening to both of you. Rick, you've got a little saying that everything Trump touches dies. Is that what happened here with Hope Hicks?
Absolutely. The rule always applies. The rule always, ends up obtaining, no matter who they are or what they think their position is or how solid it looks. At some point, the compromises and the trouble that Trump brings people ends up destroying their career. I mean, it's like a game show where you get high legal bills, your personal reputation destroyed, and other than that, the lovely parting gift is, national headlines about the fact that you've been booted out of the White House. It's a real mess for her. But this White House is firing people at a rate that is quite astounding, and it doesn't seem to be changing. And it always comes down to the fact that these folks are defending Trump or helping or trying to push his agenda, and they always end up under the wheels of the passing train.
Sam, here's what you said. The timing of Hope Hicks' resignation is a prime example of the Trump administration's crisis strategy. How so?
Feels like every time the White House is under pressure, we have all this reporting about Jared Kushner's foreign business conflicts, undisclosed or misreported meetings. Another shoe drops. We have Hope Hicks resigning last weekend in the middle of all the scrutiny on Jared Kushner's clearance. All of a sudden, the Schiff memo comes out. Donald Trump launches into a Twitter storm. And we talked about that instead of all of the policy issues that actually mattered. So it feels like a little bit too much of a cute coincidence. But, one point I'll make, everything that Trump touches dies, except Jared Kushner. The least qualified person to be running policy right now in the White House is still there. So I wish that Kushner would be pushed out of the White House and would resign, and we'd have this kind of crisis communications to deal with. Instead, he's still there working on these really heavy issues.
Interesting. Well, Rick, yesterday is about, I guess, 20 breaking news stories ago, but you wrote in the Daily Beast, right. You said the deep state takes out the White House's dark clown prince. And you really pulled no punches talking about Jared Kushner's loss of a security clearance and how it's tied to his fortune and, more importantly, his debts. Now, tonight, we're learning he met with top Wall Street execs in the White House who then lent his business money.
Sure. I mean, look, any other human being on earth would be in prison by now because of all this. Jared Kushner is so compromised and so compromisable. And then the article I wrote in the Daily Beast yesterday basically ran through the fact that American intelligence was listening in while foreign nations were basically astounded at how easy it would be to bribe and manipulate this guy. And the fact of the matter is the president, he's listening to Ivanka saying, but Daddy, keep him here. That unacceptable for a president to do. The nepotism problem would be a problem no matter what, if he didn't have any investments or anything else. But this is a guy who has basically been trying to sell himself and sell his influence in the White House in order to fund 666 Fifth Avenue, this white elephant building his family is invested in New York. And this is a guy who is the president has given him this vast portfolio of assignments and opportunities to influence American foreign and domestic policy. And the problem is he is utterly corrupt. He doesn't need to be in the White House. The guy's probably going to end up spending more time in a federal correctional facility than the White House at the end of the day, because it's so obvious how cheaply he was trying to sell himself to anyone who walked in the door. Yeah. I mean, this is a guy who might as well have a for sale sign tattooed on his neck.
Well, you talked about, would you say it was a Daily Beast you read the piece? Because Sam has a very similar article, which is in Politico. And Sam, you wrote, foreign governments are always looking for potential intelligence targets. They look to recent assets that have access to information that they need and influence over policy. They look for assets which, with manipulation points, adding that the final element that makes the perfect foreign intelligence target inexperience. You say Jared checks every single box.
Most definitely. I mean, whether it was hubris, inexperience, or Kushner was pursuing some other agenda, he made every national security mistake in the book. He was unprepared for meetings. He reportedly didn't work with the White House National Security Council. Typically, when you go and meet with the Chinese, you bring a friend, you bring someone to take notes, you bring a translator so that there's some other readout of the meeting. And you also debrief everyone when you get out so that there's an official record for the U.S. government and you're not, again, relying on a foreign country to tell everyone what actually happened. And so Jared Kushner's not special in many ways. It was a powerful figure that would have been targeted by a foreign intelligence service, but this hubris aspect makes him very different.
Hey, Rick, quickly here, because I got to get to the break. Jared, he's among dozens of aides who lost their top security clearance. Is this a sign, despite the president being mad, that actually Kelly is winning the knife fight that's underway now at the White House?
It definitely is. Reducing Jared from a top secret SCI clearance to Walmart greeter clearance in the space of a couple of days has shown that John Kelly has some control and some hand in this White House. You know, that may not last, but he's certainly doing his best to try to eliminate the possibility of Jared, you know, putting up the President's Daily Brief for sale on the dark web somewhere.
Housewares on aisle 4 to the back. And the